Kudzai Mutiti, thank you for doing this with me, bro.
More than welcome, more than welcome. Anything for you, big bro.
Yeah, we haven't done this in a long time, and I think the first time that we recorded our first podcast, it was when you just got started with Hokima Cricket Academy. So let's talk.
Absolutely.
So for those that don't know, what does Kudzai do for Hokima Cricket Academy?
All right. Thank you for that, and thank you so much for having me. So Kudzai Mutiti, I'm the founder and president of Hokima Cricket Academy, a cricket academy based in Zimbabwe. I'm in a small town called Marondera. Um, I would like to say that we are more than a cricket academy. We started in 2020 and we have been moving from strength to strength ever since. So yeah, more than cricket, and we are also into life skills and other aspects that we feel that we can impart to the kids. Yeah, so that's what we are all about.
Sure, and tell us, how did you get started with your cricket academy? Because at the time, I believe you were very young. You're in your early 20s. So
Absolutely.
I think that how old were you at the time?
I was 20, I think about 26 somewhere there,
O-
26 somewhere there.
Okay, so what made you think, like, listen, at 26, I want to start my own academy here in Zimbabwe? What made you go through that thinking process?
That's a very good question, and I think I would like to answer that by exactly what happened, what led to the formation of the academy. So I was working at a certain school in Zimbabwe, and COVID hit, and all that. So I was being approached by many parents. Can you take my child for cricket? Can you take my child for cricket? It's got nothing to do at home, and I was blessed enough that my parents had got like a huge backyard that they had, and there were vegetables that were there and stuff like that. I approached my mom and I was like, "Mom, can I have a little bit, of the space?" And two kids came, and then one thing led to another. Then, the word spread, and yeah, boom, the academy started to grow. And I'm like, no, man. Now with the numbers that I've got here, I think I can actually formalize this thing. And what can I start like asking myself? What can I offer that other academies are not offering? And then, yeah, ideas came. And then, yeah, we are here now.
So you worked for another academy before Hokima Cricket Academy started. Is that what you
I,
say? That's what you started your
I,
journey, academy?
I was working for another school. So it was a
Oh,
school that I was working and I was coaching cricket there. And
okay.
then, yeah, so I lost my job due to COVID. And, but I guess people just, admired how I used to coach when I was in that particular school. And people started approaching me afterwards. And then, yeah,
So the idea of the academy,
yeah,
the opportunity arise and you rose up to the opportunity?
exactly. Absolutely.
Some was doing it and you kind of had like a foundation from what they're doing, and you say like, I'm going to take this, as you said, you saw what other people were doing. Was
Yeah,
that your of inspiration, or like just doing your own thing was where like you got all you started learning along the way? That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
yeah,
was it something, of course you work for a school, right? But a school is structured different from structuring your own academy, right? So
yeah.
like your own academy, was it a lot of it, was it seeing what a lot of people are doing, or it was like something completely new for you that you had to develop as time progressed?
So for me, like the town that I lived in, it was a small town and nothing was happening of that sort. So it was, like something new to me, something foreign to me, and it had, to be something that I had to learn as I go. I remember when I was starting, a lot of people were saying, "Yeah, you're gonna fail, you're gonna fail. I don't think 3 months will pass, I don't think a year will pass." And now we celebrated our fifth year, this past
Hey,
February. So yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you
So
so much.
are saying that you're gonna fail. How do they say? What are they saying now? I think that we knew you're gonna make it, bro, and they just say like, bro, I know exactly what you say to me. So how are those people seeing you now? You know, are they happy for you and saying that they saw it, or they just too surprised or shocked? Like, how did you pull it off?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are still shocked on how we managed to pull it off. And I think some other people have approached me, like, Kudzai. When you started, I was one of those people that did not believe, but you have turned us from doubters to believers. So I'm glad that went well. And I think the best revenge is success. I managed to stay calm, remain composed, and I knew in my head what I wanted to do. And I just went on and executed exactly what I had.
That's excellent. And your mom and your dad, considering that they gave you the piece of land to
Yeah.
do this thing, that I think it was so foreign to them, unless the cricket players also too. So, did they know at the time? Did they see it, or the way you explained to them? Did they see the vision, or it was one of those of saying, like, "Man, it's one of Kud's crazy idea. Let us just give him whatever he wants. We're not using it anyway, right?
Yeah.
we just growing vegetables there." Whatever he wants and get him out of the way. So was it something that they saw, or they're just trying to get you out of their way so that you can do whatever?
So the tricky part was that from my dad's side, my dad comes from a sporting background, and my mom
Oh,
no sport whatsoever. So my mom was like, "Yeah, this guy has started with his own crazy ideas again." And my dad was
yeah.
like, "I see what my son is trying to do. Let's give him the chance to show us what he wants to do." So I remember when kids started to come and the numbers started increasing, my dad was like to my mom, "I told you I was right. I knew the boy had something." So yeah, from my mom's side, no. From my dad's side, absolutely yes.
And then the support from your dad, was it sort of like a driving force? And also your mom sort of not seeing the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel. Was it something that also too was like, okay, I'm gonna show mom here,
Mhm.
this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Was it something that drove to make it happen, or it was something that sort of like pulled you back and say like, why can my mom see something here that I'm trying to put on? So tell me about it. So how did that how did that help you or drive you in executing building Okima?
Um, Funny enough is that I think growing up, everyone has always said that I'm my father's son. Like I take after my father in a lot of things. So indeed, it was a driving force. Just having the confidence that I got from my father. I grew up seeing what my dad was doing, and I think for me to be able to do that as well was such a blessing because it drove me. When I got tired, I was like, my dad would not give up. My dad would not give up. And I guess, yeah, there was massive inspiration from my dad's side, definitely. And I'm glad that I'm making him proud every single day. I'm definitely glad about that.
Uh, that is great, man. So another question is that I grew up in Harare, right? So
Yeah.
when you grew up in the capital city, you don't think outside of the box because you think
Yeah.
everything is in the capital, right? So my
Mm,
question is, what made you see the opportunity of saying like, besides, of course, there was land readily available for you to use, right? You didn't have to worry
mm,
about trying to find money to go elsewhere. But
yeah.
the thing that I'll thinking of Burundi is a small town compared to
Yeah.
Harare. So why would you want to do that? Why would you want to put yourself in that position of, starting your business or your academy in Maronde? Besides, the land being readily available, were there some other reasons too why you wanted to be in Maronde to get started?
Mm. Good question. So I think for me, I think it was more of a tactical thing. I felt like if I started something from a small town where nobody expected, something to come out of, I think it would give me an extra mile, number one, to push. Number one. Number two, I wanted to make my town, my hometown, proud as well. So it also gave me that push to say, no, do not go to Harare. Where you grew up is where you're going to start. I've received a lot of people, saying that go to Bulawayo, go to Harare. Harare, that's where the money is. But I've always stuck to my guns and believe that Marondera is the place. And I'm glad that I've managed to put my hometown on the map. A lot of people now know Marondera because that's where Hokima started. So yeah, I think those are some of the reasons why I said I will start in Marondera, and this is where I come from, and I will make where I come from proud.
That's great. So,
Mm.
being in Marondera, right? Do you
Yeah,
think I'm not pretty familiar with how many academies are in Zimbabwe? Do you think
mm,
that allows you to shine more because everybody's curious, like, oh, a cricket academy in Marondera, the
yeah,
curiosity, right? Everybody's like, oh, Marondera.
yeah,
So now they're paying more. But if you're in Harare, people will be like, oh, just another cricket academy in
yeah,
Harare or in Bulawayo. How do
yeah.
you see that? Do you think that would be an advantage too of like the curiosity draw people to pay attention as well too? Like, oh, he's doing this thing in Maronier. And also too, like people tend to pay more respect, if I might say, in that aspect, because I would think there's so many obstacles of making something like that happen in Maronier that making it happen in Harare or in Bulawayo. So
Yeah.
do you think that helped you too in a thing in Marondia as well?
I think that's a very valid point, my brother. Very valid point. I think, like what I was saying, the fact that nobody expects something or anything to come out from a small town. But I stayed there. I knew the geographical location that I was in. I knew the advantages. Like Marondera is so blessed with, I think, some of the top schools in Zimbabwe. We've got Peterhouse, we've got Uzawi, we've got Springville, we've got Watershed College. And in my head, I already knew
Yeah.
the target market that I wanted to approach. And yeah, there's no way of me denying that. I think that curiosity also gave me an extra, extra attention with people that, Marondera, So yeah, I greatly believe so.
So, like, me being in the USA here, studying a business in any other city in the USA, you
Yeah,
want to study in a small for me, from what I've learned, because
mm,
in a small town, the city supports ideas that are outside the box. There's
mm,
not a lot of entrepreneurs pushing boundaries. So
okay,
if you go to a big city like New York or like, California or, those big cities, they tend to have a lot of entrepreneurs. So it's hard for you to stand out and shine. And it's also hard for you to get funding from the state or support from the state,
right.
because almost everybody is an
Who's
entrepreneur,
doing
so you
it?
can't. But if you go to a smaller town, you're like one of those people that they want to uplift so that they encourage other, people that want to come to do business in that city. They know that if this guy can do it over there, he has all this support, it'll drive more entrepreneurs to that city or develop more entrepreneurs in that city. So
Mm.
where I'm going with that question is that being in Maronda and starting something so great like your academy, how is the city or the people that are very influential in that city helped you to to build Hokima Cricket Academy? Has it been one of those where like they don't see it yet? It's not yet. They don't see the value yet because in the beginning a lot of people don't see value, right? Even 5 years in, they don't really see the value, or maybe they start seeing it when it's too late. So
Yeah.
have they caught on up to it, or it's one of those where you're still trying to like approach them so they could see the light of like what you're trying to do for the city?
I think now a lot of people have, started seeing the importance of the academy and the works that we've been pushing. But at first, I won't lie, I think people were all blinded by it. People did not see anything in it. People did not see any hope in it. And I think now we have managed to set up a board, which has got, I think, a lot of people, influential people in Marondera that are now helping out with ideas, using their influence and channeling it into the academy as well. So at first, people did not see the vision, but now I'm glad people are seeing, what we are doing. the impact that we're having in the community now. So, because like I said, like I highlighted, that we are more than cricket. We are more into also into community work, and things like that. So we've been getting a lot of also companies trying to join us, so it has been good. It has been good. The response now, I think, has been nothing short of amazing.
So in the beginning, you talked about being in a location where there are these schools that have kids that are interested in in what you're doing. Do you get kids that environment that come to you as well too, or all of your clientele just comes from those type of schools?
So at first, all our kids were coming from all those schools that I mentioned, but now I think the academy has grown. We have been in touch with so many partners who have enabled us to spread our wings. We have now taken cricket to the ghetto. We've now taken cricket, like this August, we're having a massive camp. We're going to areas like an area called Wedza, where no one, knows about cricket, and we are going to introduce cricket. So I'm glad that we're spreading our wings, and sport. It's something that needs to be introduced to everyone, not a certain say clientele, and say this is my niche only. It's for everyone. Sport brings people together. Sport does all sorts. No matter whether you're white, you're Indian, you're black, or you're colored. It's one of those things that brings people together, and I'm glad that we have now taken that trajectory where we are saying that no, we are not only into this particular niche, but we are here for everyone. So I'm glad that, like what you asked me on your last question, that if the influential people, how have they been helping now? This is where they've been coming, in helping to make us spread our wings to get cricket to everyone.
Sure. So at this point, have you had some offers of people trying to be part of what you're doing, or completely sell to them, or in a way sell out for for a little bit of change of like they're seeing what you've built, or they're trying to extract it out of Marondia and saying like, listen, before there was an office, people were telling you just to move and build it somewhere else, right?
Yeah,
Coming in and say like, you know what? Bring it to Harare. We can make some money with you here in Harare, or bring it to
yeah,
Bulawayo, or bring it to our city. If you come across that as of yet.
right. So it's crazy because the past 2 weeks I've received like 3 emails now, and I've had offers from those small starting schools. Like in Harare, there are certain schools that goes to grade one, that starts from grade one to grade three. They're still growing,
Yeah,
and they've given us offers to be a part of them as well. So the following coming weeks we will be having board meetings, trying to see how best we can expand the vision,
sure.
and um, get Hokima to Harare, get Hokima to Bulawayo, get Hokima to Guerrero and stuff like that. So yes, we have received offers, and I think for me, whether we take it or not, I think it's showing something about us. It's showing us how people are viewing us out there, and they're also appreciating that the work that we're doing in the community, and they also want to be a part of us. So it's such a huge compliment, starting from the backyard into having schools, startup schools approaching us to be a part of them. I think it's such great news for us.
That is good to hear, my guy. And the
Yeah.
other I'll have for you is that, like, building all of this, you come across a lot of challenges. And
Mm.
one of the things that I would say is that in your space of business, especially building academies, I never really came across a black person that's doing it. Maybe
Yeah.
because I'm in that arena of cricket or whatever, so I don't really understand who is who and who's behind what. So,
Yeah.
is there like people in Zimbabwe or just in Africa? Is there a lot of people doing cricket academies, or it's just like it's just a few black guys that try to make it happen with their academies?
So I think there are a lot of black guys that are involved in academies. I guess what you know differentiates us with the others would be how we express ourselves. So most academies are only cricket and then that's it. But for us now, like we always say, the vision is to set the standard of excellence for sport by providing first class coaching and professional instruction. So we are, and also we are into life skills and leadership camps through sport. You know, we get the big guys to come through and interact with our kids, you know, tell them what it takes to, you know, to be up there in sport. I think I was listening to one of your interviews when you were talking about social capital. And, you know, that's I feel like that's where we have managed to get that edge where we get these big guys to come and interact with other guys. It's just cricket and then kids go home, but we are offering more. So a lot of black people are involved in it, but I feel like our expression is right up there. The way we express ourselves, the way we do up things is no one is doing it the way that we're doing it.
So in other words, black guys are winning in this field, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. And you know, with building a business like Hokima Cricket Academy comes with challenges, you know,
Yeah.
especially being in Africa and things like that. But when I talk to other people, when I've talked to other people in the past that are in an environment like Zimbabwe and other African countries, when it comes to building business, the first thing that they talk about is the lack of capital. And for me, being in the USA, I think we have a lot of risk capital that is available for us to use. When
Yeah.
like when you're building a business in Africa, you're just by yourself. That's it, you know. Unless you
Mm.
start making something else and making money out of the business, that's when people are willing to give you money to do anything else in your business. But at that point, you don't need their money because you know you can do it yourself. But when
Yeah.
you really need it, no one is really there to help you out with that. So for somebody that might be in a position of trying to build a business from from straight, how would you respond to that in an environment like Africa on how they can overcome challenges such as capital? What would you be opposed to that?
I think my response to that would be start with what you have
Sure.
because you can never be ready. That's the honest truth. The initial plan that I've got would be to own a huge, place of, space of land. And up to now, we haven't gotten there yet. So for me to, if you ask anyone, what do you need to start a cricket academy? They will say I would need a lot of space and I would need land, and we don't have that yet. And but with that backyard that I was privileged to for my parents to have, I started with that. There was no grant, there was no loans that were there, but we just started with what we had. When the two kids started, I started financing the whole project with the money that I was getting. So all you can do is start, you know, and also make sure that you invest in yourself in terms of just learning. When I say learning, doesn't mean only going to school, but putting yourselves in places where you are able to learn things. Because I think there's a difference between learning in school and actually learning in doing a thing. So being someone who is able to put yourself in those places that you learn. I'd like to believe that the reason why people are following us now is that I always tell people that so and so can do a cricket academy, so and so can do it, but no one can do it the way that we do it because I've managed to put ourselves in certain spaces that I know that only a few people can learn what I'm learning in that particular place, and then I bring it to my staff. So, because we want people to, people want to start a lot of things, but then, yeah, the knowledge isn't really there. So, I be too good that they can't ignore you. Be too good.
I hear you. I think, in other words, you're saying everybody wants to start a business, but they're not serious about their goals. But also, if they start, they don't want to be the best person in that field. As you mentioned with your academy, you're making sure that it's not only about cricket, right? It's a lifestyle. You turn this into a
Absolutely.
lifestyle. Like, okay, if somebody goes through our academy, he's not only going to be a good cricket player, but also if he decides to pursue other things, he's going to be good at that. And
You've
how
got
many
it.
academies are
I
teaching
agree
people
with that.
those kind of things? So
You've got it.
I,
You've got
yeah,
it.
So I go exactly where you're going with it. So one other thing that I'll ask you as well too is that have you had any mentors along the way that have guided you in building your business, or you just had to find out, how do they say this, fuck around and find out, you just did your own thing and found out, oh man, this doesn't work, or there's somebody that you've been talking to or watching that's been guiding you and say like, man, we have tried this 2 3 times, it did not work, but if you try to do it this way, it might give you the results that you're looking for. So have you had any mentors that have been guiding you along the process?
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that I've been blessed with was, the social capital, like you said in your other interview. Um, I've had mentors that have been mentoring me in all aspects of my life, be it the social aspect, be it the financial side of things. So I have a lot of, guys that I talk to. I think cancel a lot. As much as I've got my own ideas, I talk to a lot of people. How best do you think I can do this? Even if they tell me otherwise, um, I try to incorporate what they're saying into my brains as well and see how best I can work around it. Because the fact that it didn't work out for you doesn't mean that it might not work out for me. So having their thoughts, listening to what they have to say, and also putting my mind into it. Okay, they did this because maybe the strategy wasn't right. Maybe from a tactical point of view, it wasn't right. So maybe if I try this tactic, if I try this, then we will be able to come up with something. So yes, in short, I talk to a lot of people. I receive a lot of mentoring um, from a lot of people, like even outside sport. I'm talking about finances. I've got someone that I talk to about that, about money. Money, the ability to get money is a skill. So you need someone who has been there, for you to also, um, be imparted with that skill.
Sure. You know what I liked about the thing that you said, you seek knowledge from everybody else around you that you feel can be of value to you. But at
Yeah,
the end, you realize this is your journey and you're
yeah,
the one that walk that journey, that path. As you said, just because it did not work for them, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for me. But you
yeah,
still have to hear what they have to say. But at the end of the day, you're the main decision maker because that's your business, right? You're the
yeah.
one, you have to build it the way that you want to build it. Even though it means that you're gonna make a mistake, and some mistakes are good for the business. I'm serious, it might
Absolutely.
like a year, but if you didn't make that mistake, it might not have led to something, to some other opportunities. But
Yeah.
moving on, next question is like just building a business, it comes along with learning so many things about yourself, about other people, and the environment around you. So I want to ask, like, what is the some of the things that you have learned about yourself and other people whilst building your own business? From my business, what I've learned along the way is that you can only rely on yourself. You can say, I want to get things done, shake hands with somebody else, and they'll tell you they get it done. And then you turn around tomorrow, they did not do anything. So I always say, if I'm going to have somebody do something, if they call me a minute before, I'll be able to do the same thing that they were supposed to do. Or I'll have another plan in place. If that person doesn't come through, I have to come through because I realize not everybody is reliable. Not everybody cares about your dreams. If you're gonna do or build your own business, it is your own thing. You're the 100% responsible for it. We cannot point our fingers. So every time I give somebody something else to do, or if somebody promises me something, I always have it in the back of my mind that there's an opportunity of this person not doing what they're supposed to do. I always say that I judge people by the minute. What they're giving me in that minute, that's the person that I see. I won't be surprised if they become another person in the next minute. Uh, what have you learned along the way? Like, what are the biggest takeaways that you have learned about human nature, about yourself, and about the environment that you operate in?
Yeah, I've learned so much, my brother. I think for me, I did not go to university, but building this project of mine has been my university. I think I definitely agree with you. Number one, you have to know no one is coming to save you. no one is coming to save you. It's all on you. My mother is always saying, "Kudzai, you're too hands on, you're too hands on, you're too hands on." It's because when we were starting, if you say that I'm going to buy bricks, I'm gonna be there, because I was so aware that no, if I'm not gonna do it, then no one is coming to do that for me. So number one, no one is coming to save you. Number two, um, you have to be a student every single time. You have to be a student every single time. You have to be willing to learn. And lessons, like what you were saying, they can come through mistakes. They can come through also good results. So you have to be a good student. Number three, mentors are important. Mentors are important. I always say to people that mentors are doors, and there are certain doors that you won't be able to open by yourself, but a mentor can open certain doors for you. I think that's one thing that I've been very lucky with. I've had people up there saying, "Kudzai, I'm inviting you to this place where I know that no one is going to be able to get there, but I've gotten people that have said, Kudzai, come and hear, come and listen to what these people have to say. I'm going to introduce you to these people." And by meeting those people, I've learned um, a lot of things from them. Um, for myself, my patience has been tested. I've always thought that I've been a patient man, but there's a difference between thinking that you are patient and then also being in a certain place where your patience is tested. So I've managed to see who I am, how I do. I feel like I'm a person that do well under pressure. I've learned that about myself. I do well under pressure. I like pressure. I thrive in pressure. So those are some of the nitty gritty, some of the small things that I've learned. But I believe that if a person can, be able to incorporate that in whatever that they're doing, they, yeah, they will get their hard work and also playing the game smart. They work hand in hand. You need to play smart. You also need to be a hard worker as well. You need to be willing to go through the hours for that thing to be, whatever that you're doing, to be successful. So yeah, those are some of the things, my brother.
Great. So, Kudzai, the academy now, how do you see yourself in the next coming years? This is how I see it. You and the city of Marondera, you get together. I'm not good in the cricket. You're not familiar how things work. This is just a general thing that I think would be a good idea. You get
Mm.
together, city. You guys, you create. I don't know if there's like you. What do you call it? Do you call it cricket stadium? What do you call
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Cricket stadium. Yeah.
your your academy will be within that, right? But also
Mm.
too, those matches. I don't know how they do matches in Harare for the Zimbabwean team. You do some in Maronda. That'll boost your capital for everybody. It'll help everybody's business. If you bring in
Absolutely.
cricket players to Maronda, it means the hotels are doing good. If the hospitality business in general is gonna do great. I think that should be some of the things that you should do for the city. Since you already started with this great foundation, why
Mm.
not build up on top of that foundation, but also work with the city and make sure, like, you bring in more money and more capital to the city?
Mm. I think in one's ears, the question that you have asked me is a very easy question.
Sure.
But to me, I think it's a very difficult question. I'll answer on both perspectives. I think as the founder of the thing, as the founder of the academy, one is expected to know where exactly wants to go and at what stage should they be at that stage.
Yeah.
But if I remember well, when I started, I remember asking my mom for a small space of land, saying, "Mom, if you can give me that, that's it. I'm fine. I'm good to go." I had no idea that I was going to build our own offices. I had no idea that we were going to build our own facility and complete the whole place. Last year, we launched a corporate golf day, a Hokima corporate golf day, where we interact with the big guys. We invite them and, we socialize whilst playing golf and all that. I never thought that we were going to do such an event, a corporate golf day, and bring all the big guys, the influential people in the community. On the 19th of April, we are having what we call a Friends of Hokima International Run, and people are going to be running. I'm inviting you as well, my brother. People are going to be running all over the world. People in Zimbabwe are going to gather at a particular place that they're going to gather, and people all over the world are going to be running it virtually. And when I started, I never thought that we'd be having all these things. I never thought. So I know exactly where we want to be. That's the easy bit. I know we want to have our own cricket ground. But from what I've learned, it feels like I'm also discovering what we can be. It seems like it's an onion that continues to, peel off, from having two kids to having a corporate golf day, to having a Friends of Hokima International run promoting wellness and health, with the intention of bringing the community together, interacting with our friends who have supported us through the years. At first, I never thought we would be having that. So I would be lying to say that I know exactly what we're going to be, because at first I had no idea that we'll be having
Sure.
all these things. So it's an easy question and a hard question as well, because I feel like we are still peeling off and becoming this huge thing that we ourselves,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. And
Yeah.
since Hokima Academy got started, how has the landscape of cricket changed or evolved in Zimbabwe?
Right.
Or two?
So the landscape has definitely changed. I think, especially from where I come from, we have had a lot of kids participate more in cricket, more than the previous years before. People feel like they've got an outlet, a safe outlet for their kids. In Zimbabwe, they are economic hardships and all that, and kids are now turning to things like drugs and all that. And Hokima has been that safe place where they know that not only there are the kids learning about cricket, but they're also having mentors, role models, people that they watch on TV to come and interact with them. So now we're seeing other academies also trying to copy what we are doing. I'll put it in copy what we are doing. But at the end of the day, it's for the good, it's for the wellness of our country. If I bring a good idea and you also copy that and it works for you, then good for you. At the end of the day, we want to serve our country, we want to serve our communities and make our country, a better place. Let me put it like that.
I like the way you're so optimistic about people copying what you're doing, because get frustrated when people copy, like, oh, why are they copying my idea? I'm the first one that came up with it. I always
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
if that good, come up with other ideas too. Show me
yeah,
why people copying, right? Because you're good. Because if you are copying, it means that you're good and you're leading in that. So me, if somebody's copying what I'm doing, I see that as a compliment. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I'm really this good that these people are,
Mhm.
are copying what I'm doing. But I, like from Hokima Cricket Academy, has any like uh national cricket players came from your academy, or other cricket players that have went to play for other professional teams in the world, have they came through your academy or as of yet, or like you predicting that some of the kids that you have now, they are on the they are almost on the right path to start being national cricket players?
So at the moment, the national team age groups, the national team level has got junior age groups. So, like I was saying, we have been in operation for the past 5 years,
Sure.
and already we have had about 11 to 12 kids that have come through our academy that have gotten cricket scholarships in the top schools in the country. We're talking of Peterhouse, we're talking of Loma Gandhi, we're talking of St. John's, that have come through Hokima Cricket Academy. And then we've got about 6 boys that have been chosen to represent Zimbabwe at their national age group. So Zimbabwe under 16, Zimbabwe under 14. Zimbabwe under 19s. We've got about 6 kids that have managed to do that, that have come from our academy. We've got a kid as well who got a cricket scholarship in the UK that has managed to come through our academy. And I'm glad that people are seeing this, and the academy is growing. I've got no doubt that the more we continue to be in operation, we will create. It's like a factory out there. We create. We create professional athletes. Not only do we create professional athletes, but also good role models in our community.
That is great. So how do you separate the passion and the business when you're building? I call this, you're building a passion driven business, right? So how do you balance the two of saying like, okay, now the passion is getting ahead of the business, or the business is getting ahead of the passion? So like, is there a balance, or there is never a balance? It's either one is leading and the other is following, or they just, they just change places.
I think you have to be able to strike a balance. You have to be able to strike a balance. You have to be ruthless at certain times. You have to be very decisive at certain times. You have to show that these are our boundaries. When we signed a contract, you said you can pay, you need to pay up. It's not because it's not like we are delivering some worky, services, but we are talking about top stuff here, the highest grade that you can get. So I have been put in that position where in a way, it's so difficult to say no to someone, but I've managed to strike that business, that code well. Um, it's a difficult thing to balance, but it has to balance because the facilities are not going to be there by passion, just by passion. There is money involved in it. The cricket equipment are not going to be there because I love cricket so much. So that will just produce cricket equipment. Money is involved in that. So for that to happen, you have to be able to strike that balance. Otherwise, the ship will definitely sink.
So building a business, just like anything else, as I said, it's a process, and with the process, it involves a lot of thinking. Along the way, any moments that you have had any self doubt, and then if you have had any self doubt, how have you gone through that?
Right. I think I will be very honest with you and very vulnerable with you. I think I I doubt myself every day. But the thing is, I feel like you can never take that doubt away. But what you can do now is to lower down, the volume of that doubting part. So how do you do that? One might ask. Those mentors, they increase the volume that yes, you're gifted, you're talented, you're doing so well. So by them, just reaffirming that in the responses that we got last year, we were awarded in a Southern African award, So I can't doubt myself, but if we are being recognized from, Southern Africa, realm in that realm, then it
Sure.
also means that we are doing well. So I doubt myself, I'm human, but I think it's a matter of lowering down the noise of that, the doubting part in yourself. I think everyone doubting themselves, but that's why it's so important to have the right people around you you know. So yeah,
Congratulations on the award, by the way.
thank you so much. Thank you
And
so much.
Hokima Cricket Academy, how can people get to support what you guys are doing? How can we get involved? How can people that are watching this be part of this exciting journey? Because what you're doing, I think, is very amazing for our community. Uh, I know it's a rich man's sport, but you're
Yeah.
making it, very accessible for everybody else. And you're trying to find talent, even as far as going to the small, remote towns and figure out, like, not only the people that have the talented. Everybody can be talented and not have the means. But what we're doing, we're trying to get everybody involved in this beautiful sport. So how can people support what you're doing with Hokima Cricket Academy?
Right. So I think like what I said before, we have started an initiative called FOR. So FOR simply means FOH, simply it's an abbreviation for Friends of Hokima. So people can get in touch with us through that. We've got a website now that's going, so you can find out more about how you can partner with us, how you can get yourselves involved. We've got a community event that's happening this April. We need so much help with that. So people can come through, send us a DM on Instagram. I'm interested in supplying water for the people that are going to be running. I'm interested in um, sponsoring medals for the participants. Everyone is going to get a participation medal. So um, definitely feel free. People should feel free to get in touch with us. Also advertising sports with us as well. They can come through. They are more than welcome to join in. It's not about me, but it's all about the whole community that we are serving. So yeah,
Kudzai, you're
yes.
doing great, and I'm excited for you. You're doing wonderful, very inspiring. Any
Thank you.
last words to end this, brother?
Um, last words. Last words. My last words would be: never stop believing. Keep dreaming big. Continue working hard. Continue socializing. Getting yourself in those spaces where you're able to learn, like I said, and the risk is always going to be there, but it's fortune favors the brave. So go for it, and never look behind, and continue going where you're going. You know the dream, and just keep going and keep pushing, believing in yourself.
Great words, my friend. And thanks for doing this with me again, my guy. You have a
More
wonderful
than
week.
welcome.